Hey everyone, it is late at night and I'm Norman. It's time once again for some watch news. So let us begin. The first watch on my list is something pretty unique and amazing. And the name of this watch is pretty crazy. This is the Colloquium KP-N degree 01. And this watch comes to us from Watches by SJX and Watch Time. This is such a crazy looking watch. Look at that dial. That is just absolutely amazing. I love it. That is so unique. I don't think I've ever seen a dial even remotely like this before. Same with the case shape, that is just super unique. I love how they did the lugs as well as that triangular shaped crown. And by necessity, the crystal on this is super boxed. And of course, I love me some box crystals. And you can't mess with the sense of humor. Even though this watch is a serious piece, look at that case back. Yeah, basically just a Swiss watch that can get wet. So great. And just look at the colorway on this thing. That pop of color on the seconds hand just complements the dial and vice versa. These watches are techy, sporty, and yet classy somehow. I don't know how they did that. A little bit of magic. These watches have 40mm cases on them. The case height is 11mm, which isn't too bad considering the craziness of that dial. The crystal is sapphire and the water resistance is 30 meters. So this watch can sort of get wet. The movement inside this watch is a Lejeune Perret G101, and they retail for about $3,000. The next watch on my list comes to us from Monochrome Watches, as well as MDM. And this watch is a Maurice de Marillac watch, the L1 Red Lightning. And what's amazing about these watches is they have red sapphire crystals on them, and this isn't the first time this brand has done that. I think I've actually featured one of their other red crystal watches way back when in an early video. I absolutely loved that watch, but at the time, and even now, the price range was just way out of my league. But a red crystal over a watch just looks so cool. It looks like a submarine's instrument panel or something. And their previous watch with the red crystal on it had all kinds of details on the dial that looked even cooler with the red crystal over them. So the L1 Red Lightning is a little bit more affordable than the previous red crystal watch that they did. They're a little bit more minimal, just really nice Thule watches with an amazing aesthetic to them because of that crystal. These watches have 39mm cases. Of course, the crystal on them is sapphire. They have 100 meters of water resistance. And we have another Lejeune Perret movement. Inside these watches is the Lejeune Perret G100, and these watches retail for about $4,700. The next item on my list isn't a watch, it's a book. Yes, there is a book on the pole router. I absolutely love pole routers. I own one and it's one of my favorite watches. Having a book on the pole router would be so cool. That thing would be on my coffee table until eternity. But there's a problem with this book. Kind of a big problem. And that would be the price tag on it. This book is almost $300. $300 for a book. Wow. So yeah, this book will never be sitting on my coffee table. I mean, unless I win the lottery. Nah, not even then. The next watch on my list comes to us from Time and Tide Watches. And this is the Lorca Model No. 1 GMT. These watches are so zen looking. I'm generally not a fan of metal bezels, However, these look really good. They're nice and sleek, minimal. I kind of like the smaller font on them. Just great looking. I love the case size on them. These watches are 36 millimeters, and they have crosshairs. Yes. The minutes track markers are nearly as long as the batten markers for the hours, and that's a pretty crazy aesthetic. I love the hands they chose to go with. Both the light dial and the black dial look brilliant. I'm not so sure about the bracelet though. I'm generally not much of a beads of rice fan. Yeah. I think maybe a mesh bracelet would look great on there, or maybe just kind of a standard oyster style. Whatever those are called. I mean, I would like to see one on a rubber strap or even leather. Dress it up a little. Unfortunately, the black dial one has a date window with a white background, so it's a little bit jarring. If that had a black background, that wouldn't look too bad. As I mentioned, these watches have a 36mm case. The case height is 11mm. The crystal is sapphire. The water resistance is 200 meters. The movement inside these watches is a Soprod C125R4, and they retail for about $1,800. The next watch on my list comes to us from Worn & Wound, and this is the Sherpa X TRT-S Ops watch. So this watch is a Sherpa collaboration with the Real Time Show, which is a podcast that I've actually never listened to. I may have to check it out. This watch is so crazy and cool looking. I love the colorway, it works so well, and that inner bezel blends in with the dial so much that it almost looks like it's just a dial with two sets of minutes and hour markers. I love the light gray between the 12 o'clock and the 3 o'clock, and orange just looks so great as an accent color. So cool. I feel like that crown guard could be a point of discomfort in this design, but I think the way they executed it, at least from seeing it in pictures, it doesn't look bad at all. I mean, just look at how precisely machined that hairline that divides the crown guard from the case itself is. I feel like it just makes it look sleek and kind of techy. Aesthetically, I feel like this watch would be right at home in a sci-fi movie. And it is not a limited edition watch, which sadly is a rarity, especially in collaborations. The case size on these watches is 40mm, the case height is 13.5mm, the crystal is sapphire, and the water resistance is 200 meters. The movement inside this is based on a Sellita SW200-1, and it is the interestingly named Mantramatic MM01. Mantramatic. That's crazy. And these watches retail for about $6,400. I found the last watch on my list on Chrono24, and at the time of filming this, it's still available. This is a Satellite mystery dial watch from 1962, and I'm not really sure how you tell time on it. I can see a mystery dial hour marker there, but for the minutes, it's kind of hard to tell. At about the midpoint, there's a circle with what appears to be a line coming off of it. Maybe that's the minutes indicator. I'm not sure. But I love the fun retro-futury feel of this watch. And I like the markers around the edge of the dial, done in gold, which matches the case. It's a little pull routery looking. It's not super legible, but I do love a mystery dial. The case size on this watch is 35mm. The case height is 12mm, so it's a little bit thick. The crystal is acrylic, and it's not a terribly inexpensive watch at $2,000. So there you have it, you're caught up on some of the things that are going on out there in the watch world. Thanks for watching.